Hello again, Ian Stokey with Mastermind Games, back for more painting, this time the game Relic Knights, and Codifier Kisa and Scratch from the Doctrine faction. So, basically, space wizards. Tanned skin 09044. So, Kisa is a Codifier rank in the space wizards known as Doctrine. She is at least in the first edition, was her army's only Relic Knight, having earned a construct called a relic granted by her cipher, i.e. magical mascot Scratch. Big wild card, and she is a Tanarian. Tan skin 09044. Can't remember if I said that or not, but so male Tanarians are large and more lion-like. Female Tanarians are standard issue cat girls. I don't know if I'm going to go with that as. I don't know. I might change some of that a little later on, actually. But for now, it'll stick. I might change that later. Right. So I'm going to get her flesh tone. But I lost track of what I was saying. Male Tanarians are more lion-like. Females are standard issue cat girls. So. The Kickstarter for 2nd edition Relic Knights hit some problems. They grievously underestimated costs and are currently working to square things up and get things released. So they're slowly making progress, and they are releasing new models, and the profits from their store, and all the employees are still doing day jobs at Ninja Division, so all the profits from the store, including the sale of these new models, are going directly to fulfilling Kickstarters, and they're working on one that came just before Relic Knights 2nd edition, so Relic Knights 2E is coming. Alright, I think that's got her skin. Not quite. Or maybe alright, this is a bit ambiguous right here where the armor begins and the skin ends, so I'm going to leave it like that for now. And then Scratch, her cipher, Dark Elf skin 09164. One of the resources in Relic Knights is Esper, basically magical energy, and ciphers like Scratch are made of pure Esper, choosing or manifesting for individuals they deem that have the potential to affect change. These knights start out as questing knights, often going on personal journeys, and may or may not heed the advice of their ciphers, but after achieving some personal goal or personal epiphany, the cipher will manifest for them a relic, powerful war vehicle, for lack of a better word. Every faction in 1st edition had 1 Relic Knight and 2 questing knights, replete with ciphers, but 2nd edition, more questing knights are getting upgraded, but again, that's going to be some time. It will happen, I have faith in that, so I'm going to let that dry before moving on. It's going to take a fair amount of time to square away. Okay, so off camera I took some of that Dark Elf skin and did the seat here. And now I need to go digging through my box because I forgot to pull a color out. Oh boy. Hang on a second, I can fix this. You know what? I don't have to because do the other color. alien purple. I can do this first. All that work to make sure I had everything I needed before I started, and I still managed to forget something. Alright. This is going to go on this cloth here. Being careful not to touch the hands or flesh. And on the original sculpt, this is just barely there and has almost no detail, and here it's much more prominent. And I'll go ahead and do this in the same color as well. If I can get my paint to play nice with me, that is. So I'll do that. And then the cape itself. This kind of fighting me. I got it though. And this is not what would be considered a quote official color scheme. It's just something I like, so. No particular reason for starting with the underside first, other than it caught my eye first. So having that repulsion problem, I'll have to do a second coat off camera, I guess, to touch that up. A little more water in my brush. Being careful around the face as I get the hood. This is definitely going to take more than one coat. I don't know what causes this repulsion thing with this white primer. I really don't. But I'll have to figure it out eventually. But at least I found a workaround. So I'll just do a second coat off camera to make sure it looks nice. I know that's way too close to the camera, but that's the best angle I could get for my purposes. The trim of the coat of the cloak definitely got more detail. So, yeah, Doctrine. As far as Space Wizards go, they're less Jedi Knight and more Harry Potter. Alright, that's just going to need another coat, but Scratch here also has a cloak and a little collar, which is a new detail. His ankh was previously just hanging off his neck. And he's going to need a second coat as well. So that's fine, I'll take care of it. I'll make it happen off camera. very careful here because this is both his left hind paw and his cape. And his tail is also swirled up in his cape, so I want to be careful. Oh, I think I just nicked it, so I'll have to touch that up as well. That's fine. Okay, so I got some touch-ups to do, both on the cape and on the flesh tone for Scratch, but that's another big chunk out of the way. Okay, Marine Teal 09077. Again, being careful around the fingers and hand. That thumping is my downstairs neighbor at it again with the noise, so... This time I'm whispering deliberately so as not to overload my camera's microphone with all the racket going on right this minute. Definitely gonna have to touch up some of the skin tone off camera, but getting there. That is just gonna have to wait a minute. Not interrupting for this. Okay. Let's get this. Oh, that is definitely a scam call. Yep, that was a scam call. So... Pale green 09012. I think that's right. Yeah. Gonna get the Relic itself. Use two different brushes on this. I'll start with a fine one. Get in around the seat first. I think I got too much water in here. That thumping noise is my neighbor blaring his stereo again. I'm going to start with the body and the seat first. So the first version of this model had some controls right here, but not on this one. Likely it's meant to be controlled either by magic or mentally. Again, these are not constructs in a mundane sense, but creations of magic as much as they are physical. I'm more or less mimicking the color scheme I did on the original version of this model, so this is a color scheme on the Relic as an homage to a specific character from the 80s. The only clue I'll give you is this. That's all you get. See if anybody can figure that one out. And I'll be picking out other colors later, but I'm primarily going to get the body here. And I actually don't want to use a bigger brush after all, because enough of these smaller details come close to the body here. At least I'm not having the same paint repellent issue as I had on Kisa herself. I don't know why that's happening, but at least it seems to have run its course so far. It's getting a nice solid coat. A little more paint, but I'm almost done here. Bad noises, but I haven't dropped too many frames, so that's good. But still need to figure out some of the system issues I've been having. Get them squared away. Too much water. I'm going to be real careful here. I don't want to nick her leg. Well, it seems the paint is repelling a little bit, but we'll figure out what's causing it and how to stop it at some point. In the meantime, I'll just use multiple lighters to get solid coverage. touch-ups aside, that's pretty good. Let that dry before I move on. Okay, next, Leather White 09062. I'm going to have to touch up her skin before I go much farther, but gonna get her ears. And her tail. This is kind of flimsy, so I'm just being very careful. And next, Old Bronze 09197. I'll be picking out other colors on her armor as well later, but this is the start of it. And get this on the joints on a relic. See if I have that same repulsion problem again. It's okay, I'll fix it. Deliberately leaving the claws alone for now. That's a little tricky to see on the camera, but this is the angle I need to see what I'm doing here. Carefully picking out the joint from in between the armor. I'm attempting to at any rate. point, I think I need to let this dry before I move on, but I'm almost there. Okay, next. Where did I play it? Antique Gold 09050. Getting the circlet head bracelets. Pattern here. Trim on her cloak. Now going back to Scratch finally. Getting his Ankh. Plate mail metal. Getting the claws. I'll have to go back and do some touch-ups on the bronze. Do that off camera. Need to touch up Kisa's skin tone as well. Get the fangs on the relic. Then the staff, being careful around the skin and the cloth of her detached sleeve. Using a very gentle touch. You can see that wiggling around as I paint it. Alright, I need to do a few touch-ups, but that's basically base coat, so once that's dry, I can start shading. Things are dry enough, I can start shading. Antique gold, or ancient bronze 09049. Thinning with 1 part water to 1 part paint. there. Scratches honk. Pop that little bubble there. Try to pop that bubble. Then aged Pewter 09196. Which this was actually the trickiest part to figure out during assembly, to be honest. Joints. Okay, I'm gonna have to let that dry. You know what? There's one more color I can do. Red and white 09061. If I can get Kisa's ears and tail. Not worry about that spillover. That'll come out when I do the shading on the cloak. Do need to suck up some of this pewter that got off the. Okay. Okay. Let that dry and move on in a bit. Oh boy, I've been dropping frames like madness. Oh boy. And next, Blackened Steel 09205. Zombie claws. Not too much of this, actually. I have no idea why I keep whispering. Well, alright. And Nightshade Purple 09022. Just plugged up. So I'm just going to run a paper clip down the nozzle off camera real quick to clear it. There we go. I think I put out too much of it, but carefully dripping that on this cloth here. Getting at least a bit on the back side as well. Now, biggest one to get is the underside of the cloak. It's already pretty dark, but I just want a nice solid coat here anyway. There's still a bit of that white coming through, and that's disappointing. Okay, that went onto her back. Let's just... Alright, that's what I have a towel for. Put it in there, soak up. That's got it. Being careful around the trim. And the ears. It's really pooling in the recesses, which is exactly what I want. Okay. Now scratch. Whoa. Almost dropped in there. Being super careful around his fur this time. And one thing that I think is throwing me off about this Army Painter brand is it definitely seems to be glossier than the Reaper Master series I've been using for years. Okay, I'm switching because the Master series is very difficult to find right now, so I have to work with what I can get. Alright, let that dry and move on a bit. Alright. That should get us to focus better. Alright. Deep Ocean 09076. Hoping to get more on this done today, but my drying time's been longer than anticipated. Just going along the teal here. Okay. Now, leaf green 09011. And being very careful right here around the where the sea connects with her body. Just shade that. I just punched my camera. Just make the tail I didn't want. Okay, should be salvageable. Just gonna get one section. Alright, I need a little more than that. It's too much paint, not enough water, so just a little more water right on to thin it out a bit. Let it drip down at this point. And I'll be picking out quite a few lighting effects here as well before I'm done with the relic itself. Just get the torso first. Refreshing the paint as needed. I need to make certain I'm getting enough water in it. And if I end up erring on the side of overkill, that'll be acceptable in this case. But being real careful where her feet dangle over the edge. Now, I haven't gotten the mouth yet, really, but that's going to be lit up as in lighting effect. I'm not too concerned about it. I need to take some caution on the limbs now because of the bronze that's on here now. And again, that clue is something along the lines of shading goes faster than base cutting, but this is still taking quite a while. Keep my brush very wet during this. Alright, that just leaves the tail. Nope, one more aspect here. It's repelling the paint. I'll have to figure something out about that. Alright. Oh, a little more than that. Okay. So the spill over onto the seat. And we'll let that dry. That's just going to be her skin tone, plus a detail in the ear, and Scratch's skin tone and the seat, and then I can start the lighting effects. Okay, next, Tan Shadow 09043. around the face, chest, arms, back. Seem to have got a little bit of a mistake, and then the hands. Okay. And then Dark Elf Shadow 09163. Just getting the seat here. Okay. This, however, is going to be the main color on Scratch, so let's start with the back side. Being careful around his collar. And his honk as well. I can use this to tidy up some of the spillage from earlier. Carefully on the tail. Alright, that takes care of shading. Once this dries, I can do some lighting effects and move on. Alright, shading's done. Now to get some lighting effects prepped, we're just going to take a bit of work. Get the eyes ready too, so need a little more than that. So I'm taking matte white. Carefully filling in Scratch's eyes. They're going to actually be lit up as well, but and then Kisa. Being really careful there. Okay, now I'll start on the crystal on the staff. Very careful because that seems very fragile to me. And I think this section of her armor on her thighs here. This indentation on her boot, which matches. Okay. Getting the inside, the mouth, the eye. I'm gonna thin this out a bit now. Okay. So let's see here. Kind of trace along this circuit tree, for lack of a better word. Get the gems. I'm gonna just actually start with those. as I'm bracing my dominant hand with the fingers of my offhand. I'm thinning this out like a wash so that it flows into these channels better. There's no real shortcut on this step. It's just takes a lot of patience, meticulous attention to detail. Well, my camera's conking out, so, alright. Well, you know what? Screw it. Screw it. Screw it. Alright. I'm just gonna stop it and wrap up off camera then. Oh, that was a debacle. So, what I did was take that same white and put it all over the channels where the lighting effect is going to go. So, I'm going to do a few details real quick here. Vampire red. So, this is going to go very carefully in the open mouth and inside the ears. Now I'll thin it into a wash using 2 to 3 parts water to 1 part paint. Get it really thin and put that in the eyes of the relic. New gold 09051. This is a metallic yellow, which is great for gold, but it's not the only thing it's good for. Actually, I'll start on Scratch. 2 to 3 parts water for 1 part paint. Fill in the eyes. Now, start with the gem on Kisa's staff. Get the herbs on her thigh guards there. The key is to leave some of this white showing through in the end. Sending it so it flows into these channels. It's super frustrating to have my camera conk out on me that badly during such a critical step. There's not a whole lot I can do about it, actually. Just going to do one limb at a time now. Keep the brush nice and wet, thinning as needed. Here in bad news. Okay. Screw it, just screw it. I'm just going to roll with it at this point. I want to get this done, and I've already had enough frustrations with that camera today, so just get this done. Getting a bit rough on the arms here, and if it goes past the area I've lightened, that actually is fine. It'll help sell the glowing. Try to pop those bubbles there. That'll happen if you get a little too enthusiastic. Alright. I think that's got everything. Let that dry. When it does, I can detail and highlight and wrap up. Okay, highlight and detail. So matte black first. Well, I don't need a whole lot. I'm just doing some pupils. But carefully dotting those in. Put on Scratch as well. Test. Test. Okay. let's start with Tanned Highlight 09045. Switching to a dry brushing technique. Ragged Feathered Brush. Rubbing most of the paint out till it looks like there's nothing left. It does seem the area to be affected. Next, Surf Aqua 08078. Going to be switching brushes fairly freely here. Next, Dark Elf Highlight 09165. Just making sure I'm keeping my brushes set aside. Getting the seat and scratch. Okay. Amethyst Purple 09024. And my camera's acting up. You know what? Doesn't my light a bit? And I am just gonna roll with it just because. Want to get this done? Because I got a huge pain cue I want to knock through for one, and for another, just because. It's not like I can do reshoots anyway. I'm not going to bother on the underside of the cape. And I'm just going to drop frames, so just hang on a second. Okay, nice contrast on Scratch's cape. And just realized I forgot to do his collar, so that one's drying up. Cut that in time. Okay. Next, let's do the white. So Ghost White 09063. More accurate, I should, I suppose, say the first bit of white. And super tiny brush here. There's only 2, 3 spots. Ears. And the tail, which I need to be very careful on. It's kind of brittle still. Okay. Let's do Tarnished Brass 09198. All right. Okay, we're looking okay. Let's see if that angle light will help anything. I'm not certain. The joys of technical difficulties strike again. The more technology advances, the more things turn out like that movie Spaceballs. Specifically the part where the self-destruct override is out of order. True Silver 09207. Okay, this is starting to act up quite a bit now. Okay, just next. New Gold 09051, which I'm gonna need twice. A little bit now. Furnish the trim there. get scratches on. Okay. Now the big one. Emerald Green 09103, which is a metallic green. This one's also been running out and fighting me, so not literally. I need to clear the nozzle. Okay, that should be enough. Rude sounds aside. It's fine, it's fine. Whoa, it's real slow. One section at a time on the relic. One thing you can do if your paints, by the way, start to dry out is mixing medium. Just put that in there. Water might work on some acrylics, but mixing medium is going to work a lot better. Just give that a spritz, just give that a squirt into the actual paint pot and let it do its thing. Okay. Now, Pearl White 09900. They've dropped about 500 frames, which is nothing. It's frustrating, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it. So, this is metallic white. These two different brushes here. First, I'm just going to delicately highlight that crystal in her staff. And with the second, larger, going to highlight the more prominent gems. Shoulders, head, and chest. Okay. Now, takes care of highlighting. So, matte white. using a, let's see here, trying to find the right brush. This will do. Being careful around the claws, going kind of under them. In fact, I think I'll switch to a larger brush for speed once I've gotten this done. I don't need to. Just going to go over the whole base in white. You'll notice this is a brighter white than the primer. It's also covering up all the spots that have occurred during the painting. Yeah, I will switch to a larger one, but I'll get Scratch first. Okay. Back to Kisa. Okay. That needs to dry completely before I move on, but I'm almost done. Okay. Alright. I think I just punched out the camera first off, but matte black. Which is fighting me. Okay, here we go. Starting off on Scratch. Doing every other square. This is a hand sculpted base insert I did. Just put a layer of sculpting putty in there and carved the pattern into it. Going for a chessboard theme here. being very careful near that toe where it touches the base. There's no shortcut to this, it's just meticulous, patient painting. This brush seems to be just about done. And applying to Kisa, which again, no shortcut here, just patient labor. So it does help. I wound up sculpting this a little bigger for each tile. That said, there is still a huge surface area to cover. I know my computer is making bad noises, but there's nothing I'm going to do about it right now. Because 1, I don't know how to stop it, and 2, I want to get this done, and 3, I need to focus to do this. This is one of those, if I make a mistake, I have to start from scratch type of deals. Alright. Be very careful right here. And I did sculpt this before gluing the model on. In fact, since this putty has a 24-hour cure time, I actually did the sculpting before I started assembly. Alright, at this point I'm just going to go ahead and stop it. You get the gist of it. There's one more step after this dries completely, so... Well, this has had more glitches than I'm comfortable with, but last step, new gold 09051, and I'm just going to line the edge of the base with a faction-specific color. And I'm using a flathead brush for this. And this is the closest to essence yellow I could, that I happen to have, so not too bad at all, actually. And once all this paint is dry, all I'll have left to do is spray it down with a varnish to seal it, which I cannot do on camera because a spray can is involved. You do not want to use those indoors ever. May need to get more of this out. In fact, I may want to, you know what, I don't think I need to do a second coat. This will be fine. I think this paint repelling problem definitely has something to do with primer on resin. Because this base is plastic and I'm not having a single problem with this. Okay, that is it. The new Codifier Kisa and her Cipher Scratch from the miniatures game Relic Knights. I'll be doing another Relic Knights video once they release a new model, but until then, got something more than meets the eye coming up. Until next time, I am Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games, signing out.